Welcome to our Moon Workshop. We're here to talk about the 18-month nodal cycle and want to help you work through what intentions that you can set to use the energy of the lunar cycles through the next 18 months of the North Node in Aquarius and the South Node in Leo. And we'll have Danielle here doing some somatic practices with us, teaching us some ways that we can integrate all of these intentions into our body and use them.
Hi, my name's Danielle. I am a nurse manager of 20 years. I have spent my entire career in the OB world. I have 6 children. I'm a Reiki master, and I have a great passion for helping people to integrate the things that have happened into their lives and allow them to be the highest version of themselves.
Love that. And my work is in the astrology side of things. I'm an intuitive astrologer and alignment coach, and I work with clients to support using their birth chart as a tool to alchemize them to their potential in whatever it is that they're working on, whether that be careers, relationships, personal growth, value systems, wherever that needs a little boost. We can always use natal chart to help them move through that in a way that's integrated into their personal energetic blueprint and using the transits that we have for collective alignment.
Well, I am so excited today to get started with this 18-month series. So, Alicia, tell us a little bit about this new moon in Leo and a little bit about the energy that's happening because there's an eclipse too, correct?
Yes. So our nodal cycle is opening up for the next 18 months starting on August 12th. We're going to have that new moon solar eclipse in Leo. And that is why it's opening up this new nodal cycle, because the first one is initiating it. So it's really a big moment to set ourselves in the right path for the next 18 months of growth. Leo energy is all about our visibility, our creativity, the things we find joy in, and the ways that we express ourselves with our unique signature. And Aquarius energy is all about how we can share those gifts with the collective and what we can do to support each other with whatever it is that we bring to the table. So these next 18 months will really be about finding what our unique voice is all about. What do we have to offer? What makes our specific gifts supportive to others? And then finding ways to distribute that so other people can enjoy them.
We are so excited to help you all through that process. And so, as we dive in, tell me a little bit about what the nodes are. I
Mm-hmm.
still find that a little bit confusing. So, describe a node to me and why they're important.
Yeah. So if we think about the Earth's orbit around the sun, and then there's the moon's orbit around the Earth, the place where those 2 points actually meet, there's like a 5-degree angle that's different between the two. So there's 2 points where the moon and the sun, or the moon and the Earth, actually cross paths. So those are actually our North Node and our South Node. The North Node is the one that's north, the South Node is south. Those two are giving us direction. North Node is about where we're heading collectively together, what our kind of energy is pulling us all towards. And then the South Node is like an integration point. It's the place where we take what we've been working on over the past 18 years, because it takes 18 years for the nodes to get back to that same position again. So it's an integration of the last 18 years of learning. So for Leo, that would be taking all of the gifts that we've been building up, what our unique signature is on everything, what we create, what we bring to the table. And now we can alchemize that towards the Aquarius side, bringing us towards collective growth as a community. When we bring all of those unique gifts together, what do we actually create?
Fascinating. I'm a Leo, so
Mm.
my birthday is coming up next week. And I think that I present probably as a pretty typical Leo as far as energy goes and my personality goes and my drive goes. And so this energy has been really profound for me, honestly. And I really want to know how to use this new moon to the best of my ability to grow and develop the gifts that I'm working on right now. And knowing that collectively, we all are being asked to step up, step into some sort of leadership, to share our gifts publicly. And
Mhm.
that's scary for a lot of people.
Yeah. Leo energy is all about that visibility. And you're right, that can be a big setback. Someone might know exactly what they're good at or exactly what they want to do, but finding that courage, right? That Leo lion courage to
Yeah.
come forward and actually share that really is the next step. So that is the whole goal here. And I'm coming from the Aquarius side. I'm an Aquarius Sun, Venus, Mars, MC. So I've got a lot going on up in Aquarius. And so the place that I needed more personal work would be in that Leo area. So for me, finding that confidence and need for being seen rather than kind of hiding in my little corner and talking about the things with my close circles, I want to bring it out into the world now. So that's part of my goal for the next 18 months is to start being more visible, more public with the information I have to share and the things that I have to offer, and not just keeping it in my smaller circles, really getting it out there for other people to be able to use.
And look at us recording a podcast,
Look at us.
doing what we are telling you all to do. We are living it in real time. So tell me a little bit about the eclipse
Mhm.
and about this exact energy of the new moon and how we can harness this
Mhm.
to set intentions that will push us forward, not only in our personal lives, but also collectively until the full moon that comes later this month.
Yeah. So on August 12th, that's when that new moon solar eclipse is going to be. So again, opening up this nodal cycle. Um, Leo energy being about that visibility piece, we want to set that new trajectory. So we're starting this 18-month cycle with some sort of intention of where do I want this to take me? What's the gift that I have? So we're starting to consider what we offer. We're considering um, creative expressions. So, what are the things that light me up? What makes me have that childlike joy, right? They always say Leo's about bringing back the inner child. So, really tapping into that over the next 18 months, I think, is going to be a great way for us to alchemize because we can take that inner child that we all have and let them loose, let them do what it is that makes them feel excited and happy. So that's my first piece. And then the second part of that, moving into the Aquarius side, we can take those gifts and talk about sharing those with others in different ways. So thinking of new ways, like not just posting on social media, but getting out into your community, sharing with other groups. If you're even in like a book club or you like doing public speaking, or it could be even just in your social circles or any networking at work, these community groups don't have to be anything where you're standing on a stage. A lot of people will look at it in a way where like, oh no, I don't want to have to speak publicly, and that doesn't have to be your thing, right? You can be expressing your creative nature in any way that brings joy to you.
Mhm. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really interesting dichotomy because as we move forward in our inner child, doing things that bring us joy, which more adults need to do, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you say that because I have just a week ago got back into watercolor painting, which is something that I loved as a kid. I'm not sure what exactly prompted me. Thank you, universe. Um, but also those childlike activities are very grounding most of the time. So they bring us back into our bodies, bring us back into ourselves. And that grounding is important for those other activities that really stretch us.
Mm-hmm.
It's so by using both sides, by using your inner child and finding joy and finding happiness, does that sometimes really fill our bucket enough to do these other things that challenge us and stretch us? And
Mm-hmm.
it's so fascinating to me how those energies play together.
Yeah, on that axis, on the Aquarius Leo axis. So when you're looking at a birth chart, the two signs that are opposite of each other, they share something in common. And what they share is they both have a desire to kind of create in a unique way. Aquarius is more in a what makes me stand out in the group, where Leo is more what makes me who I am. So they're expressing that dual energy in two different ways, but they have that same common goal. How can I express myself in the way that is like just for me, right? Like, what do I have to offer here? So finding that balance between the two is important too, right? Like if we're creating everything in solitude, no one else is enjoying it. But if we're doing everything for the stage, right, then that's not, that's not the goal either. The goal isn't to be seen, it's to get to share, like have that joy of being able to share that with others, because everyone has something that is unique to them that they would be able to share.
Mhm.
They just
That's
have to find it, right?
and the collective needs that. The collective needs what we have
Mm-hmm.
to share. And now would be a perfect time to step out, even in a very small action. Could you give a
Mm-hmm.
few examples about things that people could do? I know we talked about it doesn't have to be public speaking,
Mm-hmm.
but when someone looks at their gifts and they think, how can I harness the energy of this Leo moon? So I'll take on some of these characteristics of a Leo, right? I'm going to take on some of the characteristics of putting myself out there, but then
Mm-hmm.
also being really thoughtful about my gifts.
Mm-hmm.
What are the actionable items that people could take to harness this energy?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the first step is really finding what your thing is. What do you enjoy? Because, for you that might be watercolors, but for me that might stress me out, right? So then that's not going to give me
Right.
that joy. We want to find the thing that's going to bring you joy. And something that I was doing at first when I was trying to figure out what my creative expression was I was calling it creativity with boundaries. So I would give myself some little parameters that I could work within that helped me to expand my ideas. So, for example, with writing, I enjoy creative writing. But if you say, write a story, I have no idea. What am I supposed to write about? So having something like a generator that could give me like, here's a genre that you could write about with, try to include this animal in the story and try to include this keyword. Giving myself a little bit of those boundaries can actually, it's proven to show that that can actually help you generate new ideas. It gives you a little bit of direction, while still giving you the freedom to kind of color outside the lines and be expressive and not so linear in the thinking. Because some of us, I get stuck in the linearness that comes with creating sometimes, where I need it to look a certain way at the end. I think the big thing is being able to just explore all of the modalities of creativity, whether that's writing, painting, drawing, singing, dancing, like though anything that if you wake up in the morning and you're like, put on 5 minutes of great music and dance around, right? That counts as creative expression too. Sharing videos online, sharing your writing. Do you have a favorite way to express yourself in terms of like what your gifts are, or even if it's just a creative activity that you enjoy outside of watercolor?
I really enjoy bringing groups of people together, and that is one of my
Uh-huh.
gifts. And so,
Uh-huh.
if I can hold a workshop, or I can teach Reiki, or we can talk about some sort of energy healing that lights me up, any
Mm-hmm.
of my hobbies that lights me up, have a conversation about crystals with me, you'll see
Mm-hmm.
me light up. And those things are a form of creative expression for me, is sharing
Mm-hmm.
my knowledge with other people in a way that's just for fun. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, just literally so excited to share my knowledge. It really gives me energy and lights me up. And now that you say that, I can totally see my inner child in that. I can see just the little version of me who just discovered something new and wants to share it with everybody. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm able to do that in a really authentic way that brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, and I think that's key to what you said about being able to share it, but not for the need of it being seen, not because you need to like over explain it or get anybody to agree with you or like it. It's about what you like and what lights you up and being able to share that with other people.
Yes,
That's
yes.
exactly what we're looking for, this energy.
I think some of that too, just that sharing allows me to informally practice
Mm-hmm.
sharing gifts on a larger scale. And
Mm-hmm.
so when people think about stepping out a little bit in ways that make them uncomfortable, if they could start to do that in ways that really bring them joy or come from a place of passion, it is somewhat informal practice for you sharing your gifts on a larger scale.
Yeah, I agree. And then also, like, depending on where Leo and Aquarius fall in your chart, that might give a little more information too. If you're, if there's someone that's looking at that. For me, it's in my third house is Leo. So that's my voice and my thought processes and the way that I go about expressing myself. So that lands right in a house where I can express that through writing, right? I can express my voice through writing. And then bringing that into Aquarius for me is about teaching also. So I like that aspect of, okay, now I get to take what I'm really passionate about and tell other people about it. And that's my favorite way to use my creative expression and voice, is to be able to share it and kind of co-create, right, with other people. And have everyone bring their gift to the table to share. Like, that's really fun to me, and hearing all the perspectives.
Yeah. And it lights you up, I can tell, because you're so
Mm-hmm.
passionate about it. Talk to me just a little bit more about the houses. So if someone wants to look at their astrology chart, they
Mm-hmm.
will find what houses Leo is
Mm-hmm.
in, what house, and what house Aquarius was in.
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly would that tell them?
Yeah, so depending where the land, so there's 12 houses in your chart, each one rules over some different aspects of life and some different characteristics and qualities about you. So if you looked for Leo and Aquarius, they would be directly opposite of one another. So what's your rising sign?
Leo.
So Leo rising would put Leo in your first house, and then that would make Aquarius in your seventh house. So that makes sense for how you express yourself through like your personality, because the first house is all about who you are, what your identity is, and what you show to the world. So that's something that lights you up, is being able to be you authentically and be seen for who you really are. And then sharing that seventh house, that's partnership. So that could be in any means of that word. So that could be romantic, platonic, business, relating to just having like commitments with other people, doing a podcast with someone. So being able to share that in a partnership kind of way is where that would land for you. So if anyone's looking at their chart trying to find that, you would just find those two houses. And I do have a birth chart app that I'm publishing soon that people could use to try to explore those two areas a little bit more and see what those two energies are really showing in those areas of life. But you could just do a Google search, even type in, Leo's in my first house, Aquarius is in my seventh house. What are these life areas? And it could walk you through, where you could see these things show up. And it doesn't mean you can't do it in other places too, but it's a place that you'll probably feel really aligned when you express those energies there.
Part of our goal with this podcast series is to be able to use astrology and to use somatic practices to really help you in your life. It helps you give direction to where you might want to go, helps you stay in your body, and it helps you ultimately achieve your goals. So these are all tools that are available to any and all of us to use. And we have seen amazing results in our lives from using astrology and using somatic practices to be able to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish and step into that highest identity. So that is part of our goal with this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
this podcast series for sure.
Could you tell me a bit about what got you into somatic practices? Did you have any experiences where you're like, wow, that really, lit me up and helped me move in that direction?
Had a rather traumatic upbringing. And
Mm-hmm.
looking back now, I spent a majority of my childhood not in my body. I have very little memories of my childhood, and that really led me down a path where I was stepped basically all into my masculine energy completely. At a 5-year plan, this is what was going to happen. This is what I was going to do. I wasn't able to tune into my body to feel my feelings or express my feelings. And that's okay until a point. But I have a dynamic life now where I lead about 75 women at the hospital. I have a partner. We have 6 children. And I could not let what happened to me in the past run my life any longer. It also
Mhm.
was an example I was interested in setting for my children. So I want my children to be able to talk about their feelings. And I found myself getting very dysregulated almost every day, pretty much to the point of my body shutting down. So it was
Mhm.
time to look at the pattern, see what was going on, and acquire tools in my toolbox to be able to expand the capacity that I had for feelings and stress and expression. And
Mhm.
I have explored all sorts of different somatic tools, access consciousness and Reiki, and yoga and meditation, breath work, and none of them are any better than the other. They are all tools that I use on a rotational basis, depending on what I need. And I feel very passionate about helping other people know that you have everything you need inside of yourself for you to heal. We need we need community as humans, right? We do. There are people who have expertise. You have expertise that I don't have. And so I love collaborating with you.
Mhm.
And that's important. But we really all have everything we need inside of our bodies and our souls to heal. And people just don't know that and they don't know how to access it. So that's really part of my mission, I feel like, in this lifetime is to help people come home to themselves.
Yeah, and so that makes me wonder how did you decide? I know you're going to talk about a somatic practice for this moon specifically. I'm curious how you know what body areas or how do you go about choosing like what somatic practices are best for different releases or manifestations.
Well, I learned from you that Leo is part of Leo is the heart.
Hmm.
And so I frequently in my own life and I see in others that we are a guarded society. Okay, so if you see people, people have their backs hunched and we have our shoulders clear up to our ears. We're a tense society. We hunch over screens every day. And we really need a space where we feel comfortable to open up our hearts and open up our backs, open up our spines, and to be able to release what we're holding to make space for something new. And so when I thought about Leo being the heart, and when I think about our heart, I think about our arms and our hands, and I think about our spine. And so that just led me to some really spine lengthening exercises and some heart opening exercises and really an intention that goes with this new moon that we can become whoever we want to be. We just have to claim it. So some of it is feeling feelings, some of it is breathing into our heart, and some of it is intention setting, which we'll get into before our time is over today.
Mhm. I think that's great. Leo is also a fixed sign. So fixed energy likes to kind of stay put, and it can be harder to move out of our bodies than some other of the energies that have a more mutable nature to them. So I think this is a great place to start for people who are new to somatic practices because the energy of this whole month being Leo season and then the new moon is kind of it can feel if it's not utilized in a intentional way it can feel limiting, it can feel very stagnant, but being able to use these practices can help them get that energy moving. And the other quality of that on the other side can be expansion. Leo likes to take something that already exists and do something with it because fire energy, right? That masculine energy wants to move it forward, but it has that fixed nature about it. So it's either going to be stagnant and kind of trying to push while there's nowhere for it to go, or it can expand. It doesn't want to start something new and it doesn't want to end the cycle. It wants to just keep growing what already exists. Like that's that heart centered expansion, right? Because love, I think of love, it's all expansive. There's no limit, right?
Yes. But we have to be open for it and we have to be
Mm-hmm.
thankful for it. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us, whether it's to, our conscious mind or not, are a bit shut off to love and to joy and to success. And so we're here to expand that, expand the capacity for good in your life.
Yeah.
How does that play into these energies at all? I hear a
Yeah.
lot about eclipses, but I don't understand them very well.
Yeah, so depending on which eclipse, so for the Leo eclipse, that's going to be a solar eclipse. So as a new moon, it has the same nature to it as a regular new moon, where the sun and moon are at the same degree in the same sign. What makes it an eclipse is that overlap in the nodal cycle, where it's a specific point in the sky where those two, where the Earth and the sun and the moon kind of align in a very specific way that makes it an eclipse. And that's where in certain places in the world you'll see the sun cover, or I mean the moon cover the sun, right? So it gives that visual to it, but the energy of it is really, it's amplified during this whole eclipse period. So between this eclipse and then there's another one in 2 weeks that'll end the eclipse period, which we have 2 weeks in August and then 2 weeks in March, that are eclipse periods. But during that time, it's very heightened energy. A lot of people will say, like, you know, when people be like, oh my gosh, is it a full moon? Something's going on. But it's like that times 100, because this energy is trying to close out the last nodal cycle and initiate this next nodal cycle. So it's bringing us, like, we have Leo, we have Jupiter in Leo, we have the south node there, the sun, the moon. So there's just a lot of energy in that place right now that, when used supportively, brings in more of whatever it is we're looking for. The problem that can happen sometimes during these eclipse seasons is without intention behind our manifestation and without intention behind what we're releasing, the energy is a little chaotic. And some people will say not to set intentions during this time period because of how chaotic it is. But in my opinion, when you're using the energies, as long as you're open and curious and you're capable of allowing things to come to you, you're not keeping it super rigid, then I think it's perfectly fine. It's always a great time to set intentions, because intention leads to manifestation, right? And whether or not we choose what those intentions are and we lead with intention or not is going to be if we produce what we're looking for or not out of that. So I would just say, in setting intentions around the eclipses, keep it open. Don't make it something that will limit yourself in this time, because we tend to see a lot of more fated events happening. For example, you know, if you're making a schedule every day that you have to do this and this and this at these certain times, and then this random person pops into your life and asks you to meet out for coffee, they're probably meaningful. So, you know, rather than being like, oh man, I already has my day scheduled. I think that's what people would want to avoid in terms of manifesting, is just setting really rigid intentions and not allowing the universe to surprise you with what can actually fall into your life.
It's interesting that you say that people say sometimes to not set intentions during eclipses, because if you don't lead your life with some sort of intention, then our life becomes a product of just our everyday thoughts. So I believe that we create our own reality, and we create our reality by the thoughts that we think and the beliefs that we have and the intentions, which a lot of people have really unconscious intentions for their life that they don't realize until it shows up in their 3D reality. That, oh, you know, our 3D reality is just it's a delayed version of our thoughts. So I think definitely leading with some sort of intention, but staying open for whatever might happen totally makes sense to me.
Yeah. And as we go through the rest of these workshops over the next 18 months, we'll have more direct intention that we can set, because there will be new and full moons that don't have that chaotic nature. They're not so fated. They're not bringing these very seemingly random or coincidental things into our reality. So we can really hone in a little bit more on what aspects of ourselves we want to call in or release. But during this time, just important to stay open, curious, and excited about what is coming around, and just be allowing it to happen, right? Not trying to control what the nature of the reality is in this time is really important.
The mystery of all of it is a little exciting to me.
Yeah.
I find it exciting.
That's the fun part.
So if we're going to recap how to use the energy of this new moon, we are going to find our joy. We're going to look back inside at our inner child and remember what brought us joy as a kid and see if those things might still align when we're adults, right?
Mhm.
We're going to look for our joy, and then we are going to use our joy to see what impact we can have on the collective and how that joy might be part of the greater gifts that we can bring to the world. So, I mean, how can it be any better than literally finding something that you love that makes you happy and
Mhm.
sharing it? That is
Right?
assignment for the next few weeks. So
Yes.
take it seriously because as adults, we don't play enough and we aren't in our joy enough. We need a
Hmm.
little bit more of that for sure.
Yeah, because then we have Virgo season coming next, and that's when we start to add those restrictions kind of back in. So really embracing this time
Oh, well, let
to
your
lose those
Leo flag
restrictions.
fly this next 2 weeks and step out and be the star of your own life and find what makes you happy.
Absolutely. So what kind of practices would you suggest for someone right now if they're trying to get started with somatic practices that would align with that heart center? And I know you mentioned the chest, the heart, the shoulders and arms.
So the first thing I thought of was just spine ascension. So
Mm-hmm.
we think about our spine. Our spine is what keeps us erect. It keeps us upright. It's our center. It's where we're calibrated. And so you talked about that. If you have some chaotic energy, you want to stay grounded in your spine, but also your spine keeps you stable. And so your spine also really is a center for your chest. And so you want to pay attention to your spine. Pay attention to your posture a little bit because we hold a lot of emotions in our upper back. Like I said, a lot of times when we are subconsciously protecting our heart, and it's something that often we don't even know is happening, our shoulders round a little bit to protect our heart. So pull your shoulders back, pull your shoulders down, straighten your spine. It would be really good first thing in the morning when you wake up to get some sunlight in your eyes and do some stretching. Stand as tall as you can. Reach your hands up to the sky. Look at the sky, look into the sun, and remember who you are. Remember why you're here, and maybe think about what brings you joy as you're straightening your spine, pulling your shoulders back. If you feel any tension in your upper back or in your chest, just breathe into it. That means that you take a deep breath in through your nose and picture that breath going into your upper back or going into your heart and see what comes up. Maybe something comes up, especially as you tune into your inner child and remember what brought you joy as a child. Some memories and some feelings may come up and may be released during this time. And that is what these exercises are for because feelings are meant to be felt. Feelings that we couldn't feel when we were kids, they sometimes get stuck in our body. So when we give them an opportunity to bring them up and bring them out, thank them for the way they protected you, feel them, and then release them into the sun. And so I would recommend some of those spine ascension exercises where you are really looking at the sun, letting the sun shine into your eyes while you are straightening your spine, pulling your shoulders down, reaching up to the sky, opening your heart, breathing into your heart, and just being present with your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's awesome too with that Leo energy because Leo is representative of the sun. So that's a great tie-in too, I think, to really blend these two energies. That energy with the somatic practice is like embracing the sun
Yeah.
and feeling that vitality that it gives us and finding where that feels, where you find that in your body. And is there anything, so if I'm doing that and I'm thinking, you said that things might come up for you during that, is there any signal that I could look for to know that I've released something or that something's sitting in a certain place in my body, like a certain feeling or anything like that I could look for?
When I feel feelings that are somewhat stuck, it generally presents as some sort of pain or an irritation or
Mm-hmm.
something feels really tight. And so if you can take time while your face is shining in the sun would be even better. Take time to breathe into that pain or into that discomfort, your body's trying to tell you something. Your body's trying to tell you that something is there that needs your attention. You
Mhm.
don't have to know what it is. You just have to recognize that something is there. It's trying to get your attention and it's ready to be released.
Mhm.
And so I often, if I don't have my hands stretched up to the sky, you can put your hands on your heart and
Mhm.
thank your body for bringing that feeling, that emotion, that stuck energy to the surface. Begin to thank it and breathe into it and breathe it out. And
Mhm.
I generally just sit and I breathe. It takes just a few minutes. I know that people think that healing takes a long time, but you can release stuck emotions and stuck feelings in minutes if you just acknowledge, thank it, and let it pass. This-
Mhm.
That would be a really good practice for this lunar cycle, especially with the eclipse. Like you said, if things can be a little bit chaotic, maybe things that you didn't know were there will come up. And
Mhm.
the more that we can clear from our bodies and from our conscious, the more we have available, the more space we have available for that creativity and that joy and that expression, and for you to really live as your truest self.
I love that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm in Florida, so the sun is bright,
So,
and I have a balcony out here. I can go sit on the balcony in the morning and kind of take in the sunlight. So that's something that I can now add into my morning instead of just kind of sitting there and enjoying it. Really expressing that through my body and allowing my body to show me if there's something that needs to be released,
yes, yes.
because that makes space for something new, right?
Make space for something new. And who doesn't want more wealth and creativity and joy in their life? That's the stuff we want more of. And
Mm-hmm.
when we make space, it will be filled with more positive things.
Awesome.
Well, Alicia, thank you so much for time today.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
what will we be exploring next?
So on August 28th, we're going to have the second eclipse of the eclipse period here. So we'll have a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. And the reason it's not in Aquarius is because that's the last moon of the previous nodal cycle. So now we're releasing what's left over from the previous 18 months so that we can really step into this next 18 months to come. So we'll talk a little more about the Pisces energy and what that looks like in the body, and how we can set our intention to really make sure that we're clean and ready to accept something new in this next cycle.
Well, until then, we wish you joy, creativity. We wish you expansion and we wish you healing. And let the sun shine on your face and
Mm-hmm.
channel in Leo. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Yanel.